Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. I'm back from my holidays. I've just been for 3 nights on a beach local here in Sydney, just a couple of minutes by car from where we're actually living, but it was very nice. That's not what we're here to talk about though. We are here to talk about the, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, the Ochakov, the new Tier 8 Premium Soviet thing. And I'm saying thing for a very good reason. Because to nobody's great surprise, the ship didn't exist. There was a ship that existed that was called the Ochakov, and that was a cruiser of the Soviet Navy and later of the Russian Navy. And that cruiser played an important role in the conflict around Crimea because they sunk it in order to be a block ship to keep the Ukrainian boats in port, which worked. And they wanted to scrap it anyway at the time. But that has nothing to do with the Ochakov that we're seeing here. Now, it was reasonably difficult to find anything about this ship, as usual. But from what I've seen during and early post-war, the Soviets had some designs around light cruisers, especially around the concept of, I'm not sure what I'm going to call that, very light cruisers? But generally the idea was we're making them smaller, so micro-light cruisers, maximum displacement of 8,000 tons, and we are going to stick enough guns onto them such that they're useful in terms of dealing with things like destroyers and the occasional shore bombardment, and otherwise they can just be, AA defense and patrol ships of sorts around the coastline. And one of the designs out of these, there were a couple of 130mm designs, but one of the designs out of these was the, and I'm not sure if it's called that, the MLK 852. MLK being this kind of design concept, and 8 meaning 8 guns, and 152 being the caliber. The 150s had the advantage that they were not as good as dealing with destroyers, but they were better for things like shore bombardment. So, what is the Ochakov? I really hope I'm getting this right. What is this ship like in game? Is this a Tier 8 Smolensk? Well, no. But let's get to the details. This is a small ship. Like I said, displacement 7,900 tons. She has only 25,000 hit points, so really not much. These things didn't have any armor. And yeah, that's what you can see here. This is basically a destroyer. She doesn't have any armor. She is reasonably quick with 34 knots and reasonably maneuverable for a light cruiser. The guns are, as the description says, 152mm mains. And they are, I think, very similar to the guns that you find on things like the Shapayev or the Kutuzov. But they're firing quicker because you only get 8 of them. So 4 twin turrets, 2 forward, 2 aft. She gets the standard Soviet premium torpedoes, which have a range of actually 6 kilometers. They're quintuple launchers. But this is not a torpedo boat. Most of the time you're never going to get close enough to anything to actually have torpedoes ready. And if you're fighting destroyers, torpedoes are usually not your weapon of choice because that means you're giving broadside to stuff. She has, how shall I say this, an interesting AA. So, while she does have a very good AA, and I think these were supposed to be 57mm AA guns, that's probably what the small caliber AA is here. Most of the AA is concentrated on the small caliber, and while it does have a bit of a better range than the 1.8 kilometers that are normal around small caliber AA, it's not great. So they have a bit higher range than the standard 40mm AA guns, but it's still only 2.1 kilometers. So that means while she can do a lot of damage to airplanes, she can do a lot of damage to airplanes right above her, which is not a good place for airplanes to be because I want to have them killed before they can drop nasty things on me because I only have 25,000 hit points in this thing. The surface detection is pretty good for a large destroyer / mini cruiser. They really couldn't make up their mind if this was a destroyer leader or like a miniature cruiser or something. The surface detection is pretty good with 8 kilometers. And the ship skills are somewhat interesting because she gets smokes, 2 of them rather. So 2 smoke generator 1s. The Kutuzov, the other Tier 8 premium, gets only 1. She gets the Air Defense Alert 2, which means slightly better AA. and she gets 2 radars, which is a very unusual choice for Russian cruisers. I think they refitted radars on things like the Moskva recently. I'm going to have to take a quick look. Soviet Tech Tree, Moskva. Yeah, Moskva has radar. Okay, but if we are comparing with the other tier 8s here, the Kutuzov gets the 1 smoke, 2 defensive AA, and 2 precise aiming. And therein kind of lies the problem with the Ochakov. Because that thing, while the dispersion isn't completely terrible, doesn't have the same precision that you have with the thing like the Kutuzov, or probably the Chapayev. I haven't played the Chapayev, I've played the Shores though, and they're pretty similar. So these guns are not quite as precise. You have a slightly lower theoretical rounds per minute on these 8 guns with 5.6 seconds than you have on the Kutuzov with 7.8 seconds. I think Kutuzov does somewhere around 91 and the Ochakov does somewhere around 85. But it is noticeable that you get, in games, I get almost double the amount of shells on target with the Kutuzov that I get on the Ochakov normally. Other than that, what is this ship? It's well, it can't really make up its mind if it wants to be a destroyer leader or if it wants to be a long-range HE spamming support cruiser. It kind of works in both a little bit, but not properly, if you get what I mean. But we'll get to some gameplay later on. First, let's look at the equipment. I have a standard cruiser setup, so steering gear and propulsion. You definitely do want the propulsion. She doesn't handle as good as a destroyer, but she is, I think, slightly more maneuverable than if we compare her to the Kutuzov. Yeah, it's not a huge difference though. And the Kutuzov actually has 5,000 more hit points and a little bit better protection. Not much, but a little bit. So the Black Chapayev has even more hit points. I'm not sure with the regular Chapayev. I would have to actually upgrade the ship to compare them. But they're all reasonably similar hulls. The Ochakov slightly different here. But yeah, in terms of maneuverability, it's not a massive difference between her and the Kutuzov. She has a better traverse, but not by a massive margin. So the first slot of equipment, because you don't have the precise aim, and the precise aim is a ship skill that you can boost considerably with the captain skills. You don't have that. You do very much have to take the main battery mod 3 to have any chance of actually getting ordnance on target unless you're shooting at battleships at long range, because that's really what you want to do. You can't sustain brawls in this thing. 2 smokes allow you to be a little bit more aggressive than in Kutuzov if the situation permits. But in general, I find it harder with this ship to make to pull a lot of damage than I find it with, say, the Kutuzov. The commander skills, and at least one thing kind of works, is that you now have a second cruiser which has a smoke, although the Kutuzov just has 1. So the Mistweaver skill on the Kutuzov was a bit questionable. Here, taking it instead of extinguisher actually makes sense because you have 2 smokes. And you don't get the precise aim, so that doesn't make sense for the Kutuzov again. So this is not a particularly good captain trainer, but I have underwater protection, I have the torpedo alert, standard stuff, artillery maintenance, air defense expert. Exploit weakness does make sense because you really want to set fires with the ship. I've got survivalist fully prepared and the Mistweaver. Right, one thing that this ship really excels in, by the way, is dealing with destroyers. Now, you don't have sonars, but you do get the radar. And she is very, very good at dealing with destroyers. She's very maneuverable. And even though she only has 8 guns, the armor piercing is pretty reliable against destroyers. The guns feel like they have a bit of higher arcs than I'm used to on Soviet machines, but that might just be my impression. The historical camo would give us range, but unfortunately not dispersion. So large caliber AA range also isn't necessarily what we want. Torpedo speed is cute, but you really don't want to go torpedo boating unless a situation arises in which you can unload your torpedoes on some unsuspecting target. But being close enough to anything, and even heavy cruisers, are going to make very, very short work of this ship. So Yeah, I'm not 100% sure in which direction this historical camo is trying to push us here. But we are going to, after looking at the battle honors, which is just the standard stuff, 10 battles and 2 enemy ships in a battle, but you do get 4 steel for, I think it's steel, yes, you get 4 steel because it's tier 8. We're going to put the Seaborne Assault on here, and then we're going to get ourselves into a game. And we are playing today on Encounter. As is not uncommon, we're bottom tier. There's an Essex in the enemy team, Alsace, Richelieu, Bismarck, North Carolina, Cleveland, and a Cargo, just 1 destroyer. So let's start this. She can stand up against the carrier reasonably well, but she's no Cleveland. And you do have, if you have an opponent who knows what they're doing, a carrier can whittle down your health extremely quickly. Because again, most of the AA power is in short range. So by the time that actually comes into play, the enemy planes are already in drop distance. Alright, so we are going to definitely stick close to an island while we do have a smoke, or 2 rather. We don't want to be super aggressive, and we do want to have the opportunity to hide behind some islands. But I'm not going to leave these 2 battleships completely alone over there. There are some airplanes coming in, but so far nothing to do with me. I just want to get into a position here to have some fire. And I have used the range modifications from the elite bonus. I think I forgot to say that. Such that she actually has a reasonably good range with these 150s. And you want that because you don't want to play close up. Like I said, okay, that's a North Carolina over there. She can defend herself pretty well against carriers. Okay, but something might come around here. Okay, I'm air spotted. I don't think anyone's got a shot. They are concentrating a little bit on the other side. So it looks like the carrier is giving fighter support. Thank you very much. It would be great if you would not use something else than your fighters though. Okay, Richelieu. So smoke up, just in case he's looking my way. And yeah, thanks for the fighter support. That's good. Yeah, there come some shots and I was lucky because that was the Alsace that could have hurt a lot. That's why I was smoking up here. But yeah, 6% fire chance, you do need to get a lot of shots on target. And again, against a broadsiding battleship at this range, and we are at somewhere at 11 kilometers, you can often get that. Okay, we know where the Kagro is, I think. We think we've just found the Kagro, so team points that out. Yep, I know, Kagro is that way. Right then, let's head over that way. There's lots of planes coming in, so I'm going to start using my AA. And with the fighter support, we are getting these down very, very quickly. Get out the armor piercing. But yeah, there comes the second dive bomber wing, and I haven't shot down anything until they actually dropped me. And now I'm just shooting them. Okay, there's the cargo. Hello. Yeah, you wanted to get yourself some battleships, right? Nope. Not with me, my friend. Okay, where are the cargo tops? I don't have a hydro, so I do have to stay bow in, but she is reasonably maneuverable that I can actually dodge probably most of the things that cargo is throwing my way. So I'm just keeping my respectful distance here. And keeping him up, there come the torpedoes, keeping him in range. Okay, torp dodging here. There are some torpedo planes. And again, thanks to our carrier for the fighter cover. I still don't know what he's doing with these other planes, though. I haven't seen anything besides that. But yeah, we've dodged that all. And now it's just a matter of chasing down the cargo and dealing with that thing. Now he goes unspotted, so I'm firing up the radar. Yeah, you can't escape me that easily, buddy. And I think the cargo has just realized that he is what we call, the technical term I think, be completely screwed. So now he's coming under air attack as well. My radar has expired, but I don't need any more radar. That is a dead cargo. He ceased to be. He's gone and met his maker. All right, we are now somewhere on the rear end of nowhere, and we are still under air attack. So our friendly carrier has finally started using some other planes, and we are coming under concentrated air attack out here, which is fine, I guess. But we'll see how we can do with the torpedo planes, but we do need to get ourselves back into action. And see, because everybody else seems to be on, at least 3 battleships are on the other flank there. So our team has relocated. I just had to deal away with that cargo. Okay, Bismarck's dead. There come the torpedo planes, so full on reverse, full turn, and see if we can dodge those torps. Yeah, I think we can dodge at least one of them. Yeah, we're taking 2, unfortunately. So it wasn't a bad drop. But we did manage to shoot some down, again thanks to the fighter cover from our carrier as well. Well done. Okay, there's one battleship. What is that? Richelieu, doing Richelieu things. But I've got you from the side here. So while we are still continuously under air cover. And it was a bit of a misplay by me. I actually thought that there were torpedo planes earlier, but they turned out to be dive bombers. So I used my defensive A where I shouldn't really have done that. But now we've got some flanking shots into the Richelieu. Can't lock those, but we're still on half health. So maybe at least we can distract the carrier a bit more. But I think we've got this in the bag. I'm just careful not to get blapped by the Richelieu. And I should be just about in range, but I can't spot the carrier yet. And of course he's gonna send his planes out, so I'm gonna smoke up and full on reverse. And see that we can hopefully dodge out some of those torps. Yeah, we should be able to. Okay, maybe 2? Yeah, we take 2. Yeah, we would have been dead if he had hit with all the torpedoes. But Richelieu, okay, Richelieu is dead, so he takes him out, and now we are in range of the carrier. There's still one battleship left, so I might as well move at this point. I mean, we've won this. Carrier can probably kill me, because again, this ship has extremely low hit points. See if we can still start a fire. But yeah, there are battles when with a 6% chance you'd expect about 5 fires per 100 shots, but I fired a lot of armor piercing at the cargo, so that doesn't really count. Okay, dive bombers, yeah, another dive bomber hit. But yeah, we're down to 4,000 hit points, so those torpedo bombers are probably, I'm not going to get into top range, and there's a battleship over there, so yeah, these torp bombers are probably going to catch me. I'm going to try and dodge most of those torps, see if we can get away for a little bit longer. I'm going to take 2 or so, full ahead so I can steer a bit more. Yeah, we take 2, we survive on 900 health. That means probably the next wave is going to take us out. So, is this a tier 8 Smolensk? No, not really. While the guns are firing pretty rapidly, you only do get 8 of them. You don't get the precise aiming skill. And it can be at times reasonably frustrating to get shots on target, especially if you're firing against things like cruisers. Because the dispersion is just not as good as on, say, a Kutuzov, and you just don't have the sheer amount of shells to send downrange. It's not a bad ship. She definitely has her strength in dealing with enemy destroyers. So I'd say think of it like a really big Soviet destroyer, maybe. Definitely a gunboat. But you do have to be careful not to take damage, especially from battleships if you expose yourself too early. Yeah, I personally think I prefer the Kutuzov. And again, if you don't want to spend any money, you can go as well with the Shapayev, which is, from what I've heard, an excellent ship. And again, I've played only the shores, but the Shapayev is not a bad ship. So in a Kutuzov, I can regularly pull somewhere around 70 to 80,000 points of damage. On this thing, usually around 50, because I just get less shells on target. But it's an interesting ship. This kind of halfway between a large destroyer and a super light cruiser. Sort of like a Khabarovsk, I guess, at tier 8, sort of thing. Well, that's it for today. Thanks, everybody. Have a good week, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.